Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. My wife cheated on me and says it's not her fault. Original post before discovery. The wife and I have been married for 3 beautiful years. Problem is, she doesn't enjoy my hobbies as much as I do. The wife used to happily join me on adventures, such as camping or fishing. Now she won't so much as go on a simple hike with me. We have a 7-year-old, and since the kiddo, these adventures have been a little tough to plan and follow through with, which I understand, but it can be hard on me. I like to get out at least once a week to clear the mind, but now that's been reduced to around once a month. She is upset every time I leave on a quick trip to the Rockies, etc., because I'm not helping enough with the kid. I've told her numerous times they should both come along, but she never agrees to this, as she no longer enjoys those type of things. Should I give up on the sights I love to see and adventures I can't help but indulge in? I do want to be there for my family, but I can't cut these things out of my life forever, but that's what she expects of me. Advice is greatly appreciated. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Life changes when you have a kid. How often does she get to get away from you and the kid to clear her head? If she's not choosing to get away, is it because she worries about how well the kid will be taken care of while she's gone? I love hiking and camping, but the idea of doing it with a toddler makes me shudder. There's no way to relax in the wilderness with a toddler. It's hard enough to do when you're at home with one. You're a father now, your life is going to change and you're going to have to learn how to cope. I'd also suggest becoming more involved in parenting, because based on this post, I'm assuming she's doing the brunt of it. Thanks for the reply. She has girls' weekends or nights out around once a week to every other week. She just doesn't like camping anymore, and she definitely doesn't like me camping either. She for sure does most of the hard work with our child, as I have a job and I greatly appreciate her for it. When she goes out with the ladies, I'm there for the kiddo, and if she needs a break, there I am. It's no problem, I just want to camp more is all. Again, thank you. Follow up with her friends to find out if she was really going out with them or seeing her coworker. Now for the first update after discovery. My wife cheated on me and says it's not her fault. This past weekend the kiddo and I went on a 2-day camping trip for some father-son bonding time. My wife doesn't like camping herself at all anymore and doesn't even appreciate our kid and I going. This is a big hobby for me and I want to share with my son. Usually we argue a lot about my trips, especially if I request to bring our child. But this time she was oddly cooperative about the whole thing, but still insisted she wouldn't join us. I was surprised, but didn't question anything because I was so excited that she was finally allowing us to go, and I didn't want her to change her mind. I thought we had finally found a common ground and the arguments were ending. I was wrong. We had a great trip and returned back on Monday. We expected to come home to an empty house, as my wife should have been at her office for a few more hours. I walked the kid up to his room as he was exhausted and ready for a nap. After that, I walked into our bedroom to find a naked man in my bed. I recognized him as my wife's co-worker, whom I have met numerous times at her work functions. At first I was in disbelief and even wondered if I was in the right house. Then my wife walked out of our bathroom, also naked, and I had no more doubts. She looked petrified when she saw me. I have never been so angry. I yelled at the dude to get out of my house so I could speak to my wife. He grabbed his clothes and left. Then we started arguing. I never yell at my wife, we always want to keep things civil for our son, but I was so hurt I was screaming. Then my wife decides to get defensive, saying it's not her fault because I am barely around and camp so much, even though I hardly go on trips anymore because she doesn't like it. She says, that's what drove me to do this, your neglect to this family. I was in tears at that point. I just don't understand how her cheating could be my fault. When I turned around to leave, my son was standing in the doorway and I felt terrible for yelling. I quickly consoled him, but my wife snapped at me again telling me to get my hands off him. Now she won't speak to me and says I can't see my child until I apologize. Apologize for what? She said we could go on this trip. She planned to cheat and that kills me. It makes me wonder if she has done this before. I'm stuck staying with my parents right now. I don't know what to do, I want to see my son. I'm worried I really scared my child, and of course I would apologize to him, just not my wife. But maybe it is my fault. Now for some advice before further updates. Don't leave the house. It is your property and child too. Don't let her claim you abandoned your son while she is the primary care for the kid. Thanks for the advice. I felt bad and pressured to leave, but you're right. I need to stand my ground. Heading back to the house this evening. Reassure your son he is the most important person in your life. Do not engage with wife. Separate your money now. Start a book on dates of your camping and check against phone records. Get a nanny cam to protect yourself while in the home. I will. Never thought of a camera. It's a great idea and I will pick one up. Thanks, brother. Honestly, lawyer up. Working on it. And most attorneys will tell you to continue staying in your house so you don't establish precedents of paying for 2 homes. There are certainly caveats to that, but ask your attorney about that right away. She's gaslighting you. This isn't your fault. And your son will be okay. Just have a normal talk with him about the rights and wrongs of reacting in situations where we are feeling angry and are sad. Tell him that even adults make mistakes sometimes. You got a couple aces up your sleeve. First is let her know over text message that you will be notifying HR at her employer tomorrow about her affair with her co-worker. This will get her to respond quickly to confirm in writing that she did in fact cheat on you. You'll need this for your lawyer. She'll likely threaten you, giving you more aces to work with. Do not have a single conversation without it being recorded. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Now is the time to play chess with your wife. Be smarter. Thank you. Planning things out. Definitely going to use your advice. Update. I'm back home now. Decided it was best to get here as soon as possible. Things are quiet, but I'm relieved to be back in the same space as my son. Thank you all for the advice and kind words. It means so much. I'll keep you all updated if you'd like. Thank you all again for the support. I appreciate it. Sorry I can't reply to everyone as there's a lot of you and things are tough right now. But thank you so much. In case of any confusion, I am Canadian. Now for the second update. For the past week, I have been working with a lawyer to initiate the process of divorce and gaining full custody of my son, with the exception of visitation for now until more is resolved. Things were awkward and tense for the first few days of me being back home, so my wife, using wife to keep things simple and identities private, decided to leave to stay with the guy I found naked with her. I'm disappointed at the example she's setting for our son, but this makes my decision to divorce even more concrete. I will continue to share as much as I can, if that's what people would like, but of course, court has its confidentialities that I must keep within boundaries of. I want to thank everyone for the continued support you all have shown me throughout this tough time in my life. I really do appreciate it. So she just dipped out on not only her marriage, but also her kid for a coworker. Sheesh. I hope everything goes your way, man. You didn't deserve that, and it's not your fault that she decided to jump into bed with someone else. If she felt neglected in your marriage, she could have sat you down and had a conversation about it. Thank you. Make sure you don't take her back when she inevitably gets dumped by the affair partner and realizes she messed up. That's disgusting of her. Make sure you get full parental rights and use the fact that she left the home and your child against her in court. Also, when you start the divorce proceedings, inform her HR department about the affair. Will do, thank you. If your wife is out of a job, it would make it easier for you to claim full custody in court. On top of the fact that she doesn't have an official place of residence, is living with her co-worker, doesn't own the property. Check to see how much of the mortgage she's paid on the house. If you paid for most, if not all of the house, then the custody battle is looking to be in your favor. Sir, you need to know you're infinitely stronger than me. I would have put that man in the hospital if I caught them like that. Can't say I would have even tried to subdue the anger within when my attention was turned to the other participant. Whatever you do and wherever you go, I hope it goes your way. Trust me, I was angry enough, but I didn't want a criminal charge to make things worse. Thank you for the reply. Now for the third update. My now ex-wife revealed she is pregnant with a man she cheated with and no longer wants to see our child. This is another and most likely final update about my ex. See my past posts for more information if you'd like. I expected my last update to be the final post regarding my marriage, but this felt like a necessary thing to share. Last week I received several texts from my ex saying she was pregnant with an unknown man's child. Obviously meaning she cheated with multiple other people before the one I found out about. She said she plans to keep the baby and start a family with her co-worker. She also mentioned that she wouldn't be fighting me for custody of our son. I told her I would be willing to split the custody, or at least keep visitation rights for the sake of the kiddo, but she insisted she didn't care about that anymore. I am honestly in awe. I'm shocked she has given up on everything about the family we had, but I am most hurt for my son. At the end of the day, she isn't worth wasting any more of my energy on. I have been spending every moment I can with my kid, and will continue to do so. I'm starting to feel more like myself again, and I can't wait to get back into adventures in nature. I'd like to say a final thanks to everyone for the support and encouragement. I will always be grateful for that. Make sure you get a court-agreed commitment for her to pay for your son's upkeep. She can't just walk away and pretend he doesn't exist. If he can afford it, it's better that she signs her parental rights away because she will come back sooner or later. The obligation for child support isn't something that can be signed away, even if the custodial parent agrees. Support is not owed to the custodial parent, but to the child. Whether she pays or not is a different matter. The only real way for her to escape the obligation is through someone else adopting the child, say, in the instance OP remarries and his new spouse wants to adopt. Wow, she deserves to never have her son speak to her again. She might as well disown the poor child. What a selfish excuse for a human. She can't even give a proper reason for cheating. Thank you for updating. I truly hope the best for you and your son, because at least you truly care for him. People like this are such scumbags. I don't get those that walk away from their kids. Make sure you get this in writing so she can't waltz back in, pick up where she left off, and confuse your son. You may also want to speak to a professional about how to broach this with your son. Last story. Girlfriend cheated, and now she wants me to forget it happened. Hello, I didn't know what else to do, so here I am. The last 3 years of my 6-year relationship have been hell. My current girlfriend and I have been together going on 6 years. About 3 years ago, she went to the bar with her friend. Note, I do not drink. While there, she cheated on me with a co-worker that she had invited specifically to the bar. They went to his place and rounded home. I later found out about a week later. She promised that we could work through it and that it was a one-time mistake. I should have known then that it was a lie, because not 2 months later, I found she was cheating on me again. Except this time, she had started a whole relationship with the guy. Her grandma had passed, and she told me she was going to Washington to bury her. Come to find out, she spent 4 days at the new guy's house, doing everything under the sun. She did this with a guy we both worked with. When she left his house to go to Idaho, not Washington, I found her old phone. I knew her password from the beginning of our relationship, entered it, and found everything I needed to see to know the truth. She had been talking to this guy for a month and met up several times before staying with him. All the messages there was her telling him and her new friends how horrible I was. The thing she'd say was, I emotionally mistreat her, threaten her, etc. I have never done any of these things. I went through the phone, told her I found everything, and she tried to call me. For 3 days I ignored her calls, and then she showed up at our place. She promised on repeat that it didn't mean anything, and insisted she had been coerced in some way to being with him, and that the messages stating to another man she loved him meant nothing. She again attempted to apologize, telling me how I can trust her. And like an idiot, I took her back, and for 3 years I have been depressed every day. I even quit my high-salary job because I had to drive past this guy's house daily for 3 years. To my knowledge, she hadn't cheated since this. However, about a week and a half ago, she went to Michigan to visit family. While she was gone, one of her coworkers messaged me and told me she had been cheating on me with almost every man that worked at her place of employment. Of course, I confronted her with this information, and she denied it. It wasn't until I told her I didn't believe her that she stated she had been assaulted by her boss and that she had quit the day before she left, one of the many claimed to have been with her. She refused to talk about it further and states that I am being insensitive and don't believe her. The truth is, I don't know what to believe. I am at an emotional loss. Nothing seems quite right to me at the moment. I don't know what to think, and it just all seems too convenient that she told me nothing of this, then brings it up only when she is accused of cheating again. I have told her in the past that if I ever find out she cheated again, that she is no longer welcome in my life. What do I do? Who do I believe? She has been in Michigan so long that the marks the guy left have now faded, as she says, and there is no proof anything happened. On top of this, she is supposed to come back in a few days, and I don't know what's going to happen when she gets here. I don't know how I will handle her trying to act like I wasn't told anything about her cheating, just because this story that has zero credibility suddenly surfaced. Any advice is appreciated, thank you. Now for the top advice. She has demonstrated multiple times that she has zero respect for you and will continue her ways as long as she can. Leave her, sever all contacts. You don't need people like that in your life. She won't change. And even if you believe that she will change, are you really willing to live your whole life knowing that the person next to you might be cheating again and again? I feel the same way, but I don't know how to handle the situation of the supposed assault without looking like the bad guy. That's not the reason you're leaving her. You're leaving her because she lied to you and manipulated you multiple times. And even if what happened is true, she doesn't even trust nor value you enough to tell you about it. In any case, it's better to be considered the bad guy by a few people than to stay. If anyone asks or blames you, say that she lied and cheated on you too many times, and the recent events are not why you made the decision, because you really need to get her out of your life for your own sanity. You mentioned a long-lasting depression. She's definitely contributing there. Leave her, be free, try living for yourself. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and asking for one who doesn't cheat on you and respects you isn't unrealistic. The thing she'd say was I emotionally mistreat her, threaten her, etc. Sounds familiar. She is telling you the same thing about her boss, that she told her affair partner about you. She will say anything and everything to get her way. I bet she would even put her boss in jail for assault if it was the way to get her way. I doubt that there has been any time in your relationship where she has not cheated. You just were unaware of it. For your own well-being, you should have split 3 years ago. Don't continue doing this to yourself. Hey, idiot. Leave her. She found herself a chump. For real, lol. Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. My ex's life is going downhill, and she's blaming me for it. For context, I met her when me and her went to the same tuition classes, and were in the same grade. And after a year or so of knowing each other, she decided to ask me out. I of course said yes, because at the time I was really into her too, but didn't show it as to not ruin our friendship. Fast forward a year and we were still together, and yes, we had our problems in the relationship because of her strict parents, but made it work. Meanwhile, she also had a boy best friend back in her home country, whom she knew even before meeting me, and I was okay with them being friends, because I don't really find a problem with that, and it seemed like he was a good guy. So after a couple of weeks after our first year together, she went back to her home country for 2 months, and during that time, she had gone to meet him almost every day and they hung out every day for 2 months straight. She even slept over at his house a couple of times. At first I had some doubt about the guy, so I talked with her about it, and she reassured me that they were just friends, and I don't need to worry about anything. She even gave me her passwords for her accounts, and told me to check whenever I feel any doubts about her. When she came back, she was a whole different person from who she was before she got addicted to vaping, and was all around acting very different from how she usually acts. This did strike me as odd, but it wasn't a big deal for me at the time. And then one day after a couple of months, I was at her place with her best friend, and she went to the grocery store to get some snack before watching some movies together. And while she was out, her best friend started crying, and told me that girlfriend cheated on me with him while she was in her home country, and she had other accounts that she used to talk to him, which I didn't know about. I asked her why she told me now and not when it all happened, and how did she know. She said that she felt guilty about it seeing both of us so happy, and she felt like I needed to hear the truth about everything. She then showed me proof of everything in her phone, which had my girlfriend's alt account logged in, and I read everything, and saw pictures of what had happened between her and her boy best friend. I was shocked as to how so much could have happened, and I didn't even have a clue. I was heartbroken, so before she came back, I took photos of everything as proof and left and went home, telling her friend that when she comes back, just to tell her that I had an emergency and had to go home. After a couple of days of acting like nothing happened, I was mentally preparing myself to break up with her, because she was still talking to her boy best friend every day like nothing had happened. I broke the news on a Tuesday night via text and asked her why she did what she did. The hard part is, she didn't even try to deny anything, and just said it was a one-time thing etc., and that she is sorry and wanted to be with me and no one else. Even said that if I wanted to, she would cut all contact with her boy best friend even on her alt account, which I told her I knew about. I told her no and said it's best we break up, and blocked her on everything after that. She even found out her best friend told me about everything, and she cut contact with her best friend after that. A couple of weeks later, she tried calling me multiple times with different phone numbers to talk to me. But whenever I found out, I blocked that number, and eventually with the help of my friends, I got over it. And apparently, she did too after that. She then started to date her boy best friend for around 6 or 7 months. Her girl best friend told me about all this. But then somewhere around October of 2022, her boy best friend and couple of guys violated her. After that, she told the girl best friend everything that had happened, and she was very self-harming after that. After her friend told me what happened, I unblocked her, and she called and asked me to meet up with her just to talk. I of course rejected it at first, but after considering her mental health and everything, I agreed, and we met up in a small cafe in my city. She told me that she made a mistake and wanted me back, and that she regretted everything, and it was her fault in the end. I told her that what happened with her was horrible, and it shouldn't happen to anyone, But as for us getting back together, I couldn't trust her anymore and told her I was already dating someone else. She threatened to unalive herself, but I said that's not going to change my mind about us getting back together. I told her if she needed help with anything other than that, I'm here, but that's where I draw the line. And then I left. She went silent for a while, and I thought maybe she's working on herself and trying to forget her past, and I moved on with my own life. Then I got the news from a couple of our mutual friends that she tried to end herself. And when she was asked why she did it, she said it's my fault because I left her. At that point, everyone in our mutual big friend group is blaming me for her attempt and talking bad about me because apparently it's my fault that she tried to do it. I'm very low contact with the mutual friend group now, and I only talk to my close friends about this. I just need help as to what to do at this point. I'm lost now. I'm thinking maybe it was my fault for breaking up with her, which led to bad things happening. If anyone knows what to do, please help me. Now for the top advice. Don't ever contact her again, block her forever. And about those people, send a message explaining everything, express your disappointment about their attitude, then block them too. They choose to judge you after hearing one side of the story, so they don't deserve that you waste your time with them anymore. You don't need drama in your life after all she put you through. And the fact that she blames you shows how irresponsible and toxic that girl is. Keep your close friends, move on with your life without caring anymore about her. You can't put all the pain of everyone on your shoulder. Being kind, it's good, but don't accept being treated like trash. This, to the T. Explain, block, and live your best life. She cheated on me. She didn't even deny it. I dumped her. If you have any issues, take it up with the group of boys that violated her, as I was well beyond the point of having her in my life by that time. Blaming me for her problems is another problem she's adding to her growing list. If that bothers you, feel free to stop talking to me, as your opinion on the matter is meaningless. What you need to do is wake up. Did you cheat? Were you unfaithful? So that toxic friend group, why can't you just cut them off and block them? You don't need them. If they want to be idiots and believe her and talk crap about you, then they aren't good people. No one should stay with anyone who cheats. She chose her own path. No one made her do anything. She chose to bet her boy best friend. She made that choice. She got violated because of her own choices. Why do you feel bad when you know your worth? Honestly, if I were you, I'd ask that toxic friend group what would all of them had done if someone cheated on them, then got violated because of the choices they made, then tries to blame them for the person trying to end themselves. So the idiot friend group would have gone back with a cheater because they threatened self-harm. No. When someone tries that crap, that means they made that choice. It's no one else's fault but theirs. Stop getting updates on exes. Don't be friends with exes. When someone becomes an ex, you should ask any mutual people to never talk about them around you. And if they don't know how to respect your wishes, then they aren't your friend and they chose to do that. Quit being in contact with her and anyone who wants to advocate for her. When we move on, we move on. Block her on everything and block anyone who wants to blame you for something she chose. Next story. I'm getting divorced. I don't want to act my age. I want to do whatever I want. I spent my entire life setting that up, and I intend to execute. To start this off, I'm a 34-year-old guy. I've been with my wife for 10 years, but she's slightly older than me at 36. I've been told that I need to start acting my age in our relationship. I own the house, I pay the bills, and I take care of myself physically. To me, that is the very definition of acting my age, being physically and fiscally responsible. It comes down to my hobbies. I play video games, I watch anime, I spend admittedly a little too much time in the gym. I also do MMA training to beat Goku obviously, smoke weed, and until recently, I'd throw having a good intimate life in there as well. This is pretty much what I enjoy doing, and what I will probably always enjoy doing. She, on the other hand, hates pretty much all of these things, regardless of them being constants for literally my entire life. She wants to go to wine tastings and art museums, and explore cities literally all day every day. Basically transition into a bunch of adult hobbies. I have no interest in any of these things and never will, but I should make it known that we go traveling fairly often. We're out of state or country at least every other month, and I definitely go exploring then. She expects me to completely change my hobbies, simply because she's outgrown being able to put up with them. She's also outgrown physical fitness, learning new things. I'm also an avid reader. We used to do a book club style thing twice a month, and having the ability to care what anyone else thinks. She used to be a very kind and caring person. Then after about 7.5 years of being with me, she quit her job, mutual decision so she could pursue her passion and take a break from work stress. And has since grown to be very entitled. Everything very much goes her way or there's hell to pay. I've been working my butt off my entire life to get to the point I'm at now. I was literally homeless at 15 and started from the literal bottom of society. Now I have money, I have time, and I feel great about myself in general until my wife starts an argument. We've done marriage counseling, had endless talks, and really it hasn't helped at all. So I'm getting divorced. The most mature thing to do is break it off, as we have very different wants and needs at this point. When I told her this, she suddenly didn't think acting my age was a great thing, and I was totally allowed to do whatever I wanted. No dice. Maybe I'll take some time to myself and write a book. Maybe since my hobbies are so 20s, I'll Tinder up and find an attractive 20-something to smoke with and watch anime with. All I know is I'm 100% over being told that I'm not good enough because I want to watch the new Bleach episodes. Entire thing is dumb. Okay, I think you're making the right move. Because I'm nosy as heck, please tell us how you informed her about the divorce. Are you guys still living together? Have you filed? I'm really curious about the nitty-gritty of how you two are separating. If she's not working, this is going to be a huge culture shock for her. Juicy. She doesn't work but has plenty of money. I've done very well for myself and set her up as well. She's unlikely to have to work again. We separated today. I got paperwork in order over this week, and it's pretty much taken care of. It's about as amicable as it can be, honestly. I keep all my stuff, she keeps all hers, no alimony and no child support, because no kids. Good for you, man. Life really is too short to let others control what you should or shouldn't enjoy. Check out Chainsaw Man if you haven't. Loving it so far. As someone who has known my spouse since I was 14 and we have grown together, our hobbies have changed over the years. He's still a hardcore musician, but I prefer reading and crocheting at home. Do I still support him when he has gigs? Absolutely. I want to travel internationally, but he has no interest, so I'm planning a trip with his mom, and we are going to England, Ireland, and Scotland, and guess what? He will have to watch our kids up to 2 weeks, just like I did while he was touring. You can still be a couple and enjoy completely separate things. Unfortunately, it seems like her friend group is putting stuff into her head. I wonder what their marriages are like. Lol, I have crocheted at a metal show before, so these things can be combined. Why did she wait till her 30s to start wine tasting and going to art museum? She didn't. We've done wine or paint nights, that sort of thing, a bunch of times and it's always fun. I'm usually into it if there's a fun aspect, like the paint nights where I paint Godzilla instead of a palm tree or whatever. But she wants to move away from the childish fun stuff and be more sophisticated. I don't get along with her new friends because they sort of embody that sophisticated lifestyle, and she doesn't like that. I am sarcastic and silly, and I can do sophisticated if I need to, but I don't want to be that way all the time. Ding ding ding. I had thought, I wonder what her friend group was like. So they are the ones who got into her head. Then you drop divorce, and now I wonder if she drops them. Last story. My husband told my friend he is attracted to her, and tried to keep it a secret. My husband recently told one of my friends that he is attracted to her in a way, and wanted to keep it private. A few weeks ago, my husband of half a year and I had a conversation about him and my friend, and how I had noticed some spark between them while we were in a group with friends. At the time he said there was nothing to worry about, and I explained how I wasn't concerned and trusted him based on the fact that he confirmed I didn't need to be worried. Fast forward to now. The friend and her husband spent some time with us over the weekend. Yesterday, the day after we saw them, my husband told me he had something to tell me and that it would not be easy for him. Panic sets in, I have anxiety issues, and don't do well with confrontation. He then proceeded to admit to me that he is attracted to my friend, but not strongly, but enough to make him feel awkward when in her company, as he doesn't want to offend her husband or me, by either being too distant and rude to her to avoid the feeling of attraction, or be too attentive and cause glances from the people around us. Instead of talking to me about this first, he texted my friend and confessed that he has this odd attraction, but that it's not very strong, even though I feel that if it wasn't that strong, this wouldn't be an issue to bring up in the first place. He then asked my friend if they could keep his confession private. Points to my friend who told him no, that he should tell me, and that she doesn't keep anything from her husband, and she would be telling him too. I was the last one to find out that all this was happening, and probably wouldn't have at all if my friend hadn't told my husband to tell me. I don't know what to do at this point. Now his awkwardness has led to my embarrassment, my friend and her husband's awkwardness, and me not wanting to be around my friend with her knowing that my husband finds her attractive. I've explained to my husband in the past that I have rejection trauma and don't have a lot of self-confidence. This has made it even worse. I know a lot of it is just my head, but I can't help going down a spiral. I know it's not her fault, and my husband admitted he made a stupid mistake in the way he handled it. Honestly, I wish he just kept his mouth shut altogether. Now for the top advice. My friend's husband came on to me and I made him tell her. He was definitely trying to smash. Your husband had no reason to say anything to her other than to feel her out for a possible affair. Keep your eyes open. Yep, he was confident enough in the connection that he could smash behind OP's back. She deserves better. Because you noticed a connection, he thought he was in with a chance with her and shot his shot, which failed because your friend is a good friend to you. He wasn't just telling her as a public service announcement, he was telling her to try and get it on with her. He's actively been trying to cheat on you. Okay, just so we are all clear. You do understand that he tried to cheat on you with her. She called him on it and basically forced him to make up this BS story about him feel awkward when in her company, to make it seem like he didn't contact her to see if she was up for it, asking her to keep it quiet. You do see that, don't you? Right. OP, just think about this logically. How in the world would telling her he is attracted to her make him feel less awkward around her? So, what then? Now every time he would see her, she would know he was attracted to her. How is that less awkward? If everything was on the up and up, he would have said nothing or talked to you. His text to her was definitely a way to feel her out, while still having plausible deniability. He really must have worked it up in his mind that the attraction was mutual, and he wanted to test the waters to see if your friend was also a cheater. At least now you know he will go behind your back whenever he's attracted to someone else, and attempt to cheat on you, and make up lies to cover his butt. So, that's his character. You have a hard choice to make. I've found women are more likely to forgive cheating for some reason. If it were me, his stuff would be on the lawn.